Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome to another video. Today you find me out and about on the final ride on the Ducati Monster SP. A bike, I have to say, is quite unusual because not often do I borrow motorcycles from manufacturers and then do a review and then it keeps tugging away and I think I've got to go out and just have another ride on that bike. This is one of those very few. I've done much more riding on this than I normally would on a lone bike. I absolutely love it. But having ridden it for a while, I've discovered that it's not absolutely perfect. Anyway, stick around, stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it. Alright, so before you watch this video, you might want to see my first ride review when I talk about what the bike's like to ride, specifications, that sort of thing. And I'm quite gushing about the bike, I have to say. I do love a Ducati me, there's something special about them. They just make you feel darn good. I don't know, they've got a glamorous edge. I don't know what it is about Ducatis. It might just be that they're Italian. But it's very rarely you ride a Ducati and you don't have a grin on your face. And this bike is no different. I've been grinning from ear to ear since I've had this bike for the last couple of weeks. It's been an absolute corker. Anyway, today what I thought I'd do is come out and ride a slightly different route. I was watching a Chopsy video the other day, Lamb Chops Rides. I don't know if you watch him. Of course you do. One of my favourite vloggers, and also a pal of mine. And where he lives down south, he has some absolutely lovely roads. And I usually ride my test bikes on a similar set of roads, mainly because it then gives me something, a sort of a baseline to test bikes by. I thought for this final ride I'll come out a little bit further afield and ride some roads that I don't normally ride on my reviews and just enjoy this bike for one last time. So it's going to be a very simple video. It's just one camera on my helmet. I have got the 360 camera going, there might be the odd shot off of that, but I don't want to make this a right pain in the backside to edit. I just want to have a fun ride and do a bit of a vloggy chat thing and just up my game a bit with some of the roads that I'm riding on, so that I can compete with the likes of Chopsy, who I also saw doing a one camera ride the other day, so it inspired me to do the same, he says, with two cameras. So I'm venturing into uncharted territory. Well, it's not entirely uncharted, I'll tell you for why in a minute, but I'm going to the south of the M40. In fact, I've just crossed it into no man's land, into Oxfordshire. I don't often ride over this way, but I should do more, because there are some really cracking roads over here. I'm heading towards the sort of Watlington, Henley type area, Marlow, that sort of area. I'll stick a map up if I remember, show you where I am in the UK in case you're not a local. But over this side of the M40 there are some nice roads, sadly blighted by southeast traffic as ever, so I'll have to dispatch this lot if I can. Do we get a clear view? Yes we do. Dispatched. Oh, and straight off I'm into a really nice road here. It's got the sign for twisties, that's always good. So yeah, so you've gathered I've been enjoying the Monster SP. It's a really nice bike. It sort of, in some ways, it reminds me of a Supermoto in that I'm sat fairly high up on the bike. I get a great view, I feel quite tall on it, but you can absolutely chuck it about. And it feels really light as well when you do so. It is a light bike. Can't remember what the numbers are, you'd have to look at that first video, but it's in the region of sort of 168 kilograms dry, I think, something like that, give or take. But it feels very light when you ride it, and that's something I very much like about it. It's got that, I think it's the Interceptor engine in it, out of the Multistrada 950 and the Super Sport, and it's a lovely flexible engine. That's something else I really like about the bike. I also really like the way the bike looks. Now the Monster, traditionalists in the past, before this version of the Monster came out, it always had that trellis frame, didn't it? And when they scrapped that for this bike, the engine now is sort of a stressed member, and there's a subframe that hangs off of that. A lot of Ducati aficionados thought that was a bad move, but I have to say I find the handling on this bike absolutely brilliant, and I don't lament the passing of the trellis frame, but then I'm not a purist as far as the Monster goes. But I think this new one looks really good. Gosh, one of these 20-mile-an-hour zones, what a pain. I mean, some people class these as kind of a hairdresser's bike, the sort of Audi TT of motorcycling, if you like, but I don't give a monkeys about that. I think it looks good, and for me it rides really nicely, so proud to be a hairdresser in that case. Right, I can't quite remember which way I went here. Let's go down here. So this particular route that I'm going to ride is one that I discovered a couple of weeks ago when I was out with Mrs. Flyer, and we did that little video, the little update about her Suzuki. We went out and had lunch over in Benson, so I'm not too far from there, but I'm not going to head to Benson, which is right at this junction, but I'm going to go left towards Henley and Nettlebed, because this is the road, one of them, that is really nice. And I don't know why I haven't ridden it before, or I must have done, but I hadn't remembered it. But I came down here with Mrs. Flyer after that last video. We didn't film this bit of it, and we just found these lovely roads back to Henley. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to come out here more often and ride this road more often. So that's what today's all about for me, really, just enjoying riding this bike that I've really enjoyed on this newly discovered road for me, that I also really like. Crazy that it's newly discovered. I've only lived in this area 30 odd years. Don't go too mad, I'm still in the 30 limit. Still in the 30. Cooling along in the 30, in the 30, and Nationals! There's something I kept forgetting about when I was been riding this bike over the last couple of weeks, is it does have that quick shifter. And in that original video I complained a bit, saying it's a little bit clunky. Well, I've changed my mind a bit about that. It's not so clunky. It's clunky in the lower gears if you're going slowly, it's not under load, but when you're riding a little bit more spiritedly, then it's absolutely fine. The quick shifter's good. Something I have learned about the bike though that I hadn't discovered in that first ride was that she does run a bit warm. I should have realised that actually, because of course Ducatis do run a bit warm, the V-twins at least. In fact, thinking about it, pretty much all Ducatis I've ever ridden ride a bit warm. My old Panigale certainly cooked just grand angles. And this one, although at the very moment in time it's not too bad, because it's not a super hot day, it's about 21 degrees at the moment, it's just a lovely riding day. I can feel a bit of warmth wafting off the back of the engine already. It's not uncomfortably hot like the Panigale was, but definitely she runs warm. In the UK, that's not actually a bad thing, you know. In fact, I'd say it's a bit of a positive. So yeah, so she does run warm. That's one of the things that I've learnt about the bike that I hadn't spotted before so much. And then the other thing that is really the one significant thing that I'm not so keen about the bike are the vibrations on it. Now, of course, big thumpy V-twin, you'd expect it to vibrate. It does give the bike some character. But I'm a bit on the fence whether it's over the top. Again, I think on that first ride review I said they weren't enough to put me off the bike. Well, having ridden it for some more now and done some more serious miles on it, I did a bit of a longer ride the other day with Mrs. Flyer, and I did get a little bit of the old numb hands and a bit of the old having to shake it out occasionally, you know. Now, I don't think it would put me off the bike, because it is such a fun bike. So, what's that sign say? Nothing we need to worry about. But it is something that I would rather wasn't there. Now, as I whip up this road, I can feel it through the seat as well as the handlebars. Just something to be aware of, and if that's something that upsets you like it does me, have a test ride. See if you think that's going to be a problem. Right, back into the 30s. See what I mean about this road though? It's just lovely around here. Lovely sweepy lines on this road. The surface is nice. Beautiful views as well. I mean, having not ridden down here that much before, this is probably the 4th time I've been down here in the last month since I've discovered it as a riding road. I still don't know it that well, and I'm still discovering the views off of it. But there are some lovely spots, nice little villages you ride through. Then you get into these more open bits. Some lovely views across the fields and so on. back into the Nationals. And on this sort of bike it's absolutely perfect. This sort of almost supermoto-esque bike, and indeed a retro, and I do love a retro, me. These sort of bikes, these sort of roads are just what I like, so I sense I'm going to be riding this road a lot more in the future. So you may see it more on the channel. It's a winner. And back into 30 again. And the brakes on here are good. The other thing I've noticed about the bike that I didn't pick up on the first ride, but I have done a bit more now, I've ridden it some more, is the fuel range on it isn't massive. I can't actually tell you what it is because I haven't actually made a note, but I have noticed the fuel gauge seems to go down quite quickly. Now I have had the bike, because it's been largely dry since I've had it in pretty much in sport mode the whole time, and I have been riding it in a bit of a hooligan manner, which might shock you if you're a frequent viewer of the Mist and Flower. I'm not known for my hooligan manners, but this bike, the Monster, does bring out the monster in you, I'm afraid. So I have been sucking the fuel through a bit, but I suspect we're looking at way short of 200 miles tank range, so I think about 150 miles is probably about right. Not a problem for me, that, to be honest, because if I'm going out on a ride, I'm going to be stopping every 100 miles anyway, if not sooner, to stretch my legs and so on. So not really a problem, but if you're thinking of having the bike and doing longer tours, it could get on your nerves. That, I suppose, is just something that I thought, oh, you have to fill up quite often on this bike compared to others I'm used to. Look at this road again, absolute winner. I love these sort of bends. They're not too tight and nadgery. They're nice and open. You can just really enjoy the bike around them. Just the perfect amount of power on the Monster. Not so much that you're going to get yourself into, you know, huge amounts of trouble because you're doing ridiculous 3-figure speeds, but enough to really enjoy it until you hit another 20-mile-an-hour zone, and then you slow down rapidly on these incredible brakes. Right, this demands second gear then. I hate these 20-mile-an-hour zones. They're just, on a motorcycle, it's too hard to ride at 20 miles an hour, especially on the big V-twin. Ducatis don't like doing 20. I'm sure it'll only be short-lived, and we'll be out of it soon. Speed humps as well, they really don't want you to be going fast through here, do they? Fair enough. Right, down here, a bit of a T-junction, head to Henley, and then there's a bit of a faster road here, a bit bigger again, but just wanted to show you just this area. I mean, lovely little villages through here, these great roads I've mentioned, so if you're ever in the area, head down this way, and then get onto this, the A4120 back to Henley, which is a bit of a more major road, but again, really nice, as you'll probably see. A bit busier though. I'm going to stop here. Got something crawling in my helmet. That's not good. Crash helmet, that is. That's not good, is it? I hate that. I try and ignore it, but sometimes you just can't, can you? Right, we're back. Sorry about that. Seemed to be something crawling in my helmet. That's the only problem this time of year. A few bugs. Hope I haven't got anything spattered on the camera screen too much, have we? Oh, gosh. Trouble is with this game, you don't notice sometimes when you have a big bug splattered on your screen until you obviously get home and start editing. It's all too late by then. Right, anyway. Glad to say my helmet's sorted out. Not worse than a creepy crawly in your helmet. Right, down here then. This is the A4130. And again, if you catch it with no traffic, it's lovely. It's a lovely road actually, but sadly I've come out at the time of day. I think it's a Monday when I'm recording this, getting on towards lunchtime. Lots of traffic about. Oh, petrol light has come on. Perhaps I should stop thrashing it. So the petrol light has come on and it's saying I've got a range of 33 miles to go with the petrol light on. So well, I'll finish the fun rows shortly and then I'll drift back carefully because it's going to be on the limit of the fuel range of this bike by the time I get home. Opportunity, hot hole. what a great fun bike this is. I really, really like it. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there aren't many bikes that I borrow where I think if I had room and the money, I'd have one of these. But you know what? I would definitely have one of these. It's a lovely bike, despite those little niggles, the heat from the engine, quite a hard seat, bit of vibration, maybe a bit of a hairdresser's bike. No offence to any hairdressers watching, by the way. I really love it. It's a great machine, so thank you to Ducati for lending it to me. Thank you to you for watching. Let me know if you've got one of these, if there's anything I've missed about the bike. If you agree or disagree with my findings, do leave a comment below, because then it makes a useful resource for people that are maybe investigating the market and thinking about maybe buying one of these. But for me, it's very definitely a thumbs up. I'm loving the Monster SP. I love the standard Monster. Not quite sure which one I would go for. I do love the paint scheme on this SP, the MotoGP inspired paint scheme, but they're both brilliant bikes, and I've really, really loved riding it. So there we are, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Fly. Cheerio. And here we are, just coming into Henley, that you get to at the end of that road. A little treasure trove at the end of the rainbow. Lovely place. Don't normally come in this end of town, normally come in on the river end, which is beautiful. Again, if you've never been to this part of the world and you're coming down, do give Henley a visit. Really lovely spot. I'm not actually going to go to the river. I'm going to do a little left turn here, takes you to Marlow. Nice little road down there, and Marlow itself, lovely place as well. Again, give that a visit if you're in the area. I should be working for the tourist board, shouldn't I? Oh, I forgot, this is a great road too. This is the A4155 Henley to Marlow road, which is another one of the reasons why I like this route that I did with Mrs. Fly the other day. This road follows just to the north of the River Thames. The Thames is on my right, behind the bushes and so on here, so you don't actually get to see it, or you might get fleeting glances. And there's no easy way down to the river, so it's not somewhere that you would come to look at the river. Oh, hello, some bikes. Hello, sir. Looks like they're out under training. Good. But it is a beautiful biking road. I mean, check this out. And again, there's all sorts of lovely properties, stately homes, that sort of thing. I'm not sure what this is on my right, but it looks like it's Henley Business School, in fact. They've got a lovely property. Look at this scenery over here to my left. Absolutely gorgeous. Very expensive part of the world to live, of course. It's very handy for getting access to places like London, but you've got this beautiful countryside and the River Thames as well. No wonder it's so desirable. Why wouldn't you want to be a motorcyclist, honestly? It's just good for you. Look at it. It's great fun. Yeah, I know there's a danger element, but you've got to live your life, haven't you? You've got to have some fun. Motorcycling is darn good fun.